Hello, everyone, and welcome to Viking Tuscany Collection Virtual Training. This is your moderator, Margaret McSweeney. And before we begin, I would like to welcome you and also add a few housekeeping items. Please remain on mute during the call. If you have questions, please utilize the chat function to ask questions during the training. All questions will be answered at the end of the training presentation. For your information, we will be recording this training session. I'd like to first introduce Sue Bailey. She is the Director of Go-To-Market Strategy at Viking Range. Also, Nicole Cooper, who is the showroom manager at Middleby Residential's Orange County showroom in Irvine, California. And also Chef Jackie Rothong, who is executive chef and brand ambassador in New York City showroom. And also Chef Jamie Larita, who is the executive chef and brand ambassador for Middleby Residential Chicago showroom.
Hi, everyone. Hopefully everyone can see and hear me today. We are experiencing a little internet glitch, but we are here in one of my favorite places, my Viking kitchen here in Chicago, and we are going to be talking about one of my favorite countries, some of my favorite design, and of course we have to greet you with a recipe. So today I thought about doing something that I learned when I was in Tuscany, training as a chef. I was really fortunate to be amongst 18 American chefs traveling through Italy. And of course, Tuscany and the food of Tuscany is just incredible. And today I'm going to share with you a recipe that I learned. It's a panzanella salad. Now, what's great about this, especially during these times, is that you make it basically with scraps from the kitchen, like old, crusty, well, not old, but stale or drier, maybe sourdough bread or ciabatta bread. Or just some bread that's really not suited for like sandwiches or stuff like that. And then there's tomatoes, mozzarella cheese. I use a lot of herbs in mine and a lot of really great olive oil. And it's a salad that you really can appreciate next to like something grilled or roasted like chicken. I have memories of being a chef in the country of Tuscany while they were roasting lamb and chickens, and then, you know, the grandmother would be making this beautiful panzanella salad, and that would be the only salad, because it's so hearty, that would be served next to something like that. But you guys will get that recipe, of course, at the end of the training. And also, let's talk a little bit about Italian and French provincial style. So when we talk about what exactly is French provincial style, and what can, you know, be incorporated as far as like now into a modern home setting. In the 17th and 18th century, it was that local furniture makers in the south of France began to imitate, you know, the ornate furniture being produced in Paris. And essentially, you know, they created their own pared back version of French country pieces that could be more affordable pieces. And really, it became widespread after World War I when soldiers returned home. Very inspired by the look of country French homes in the south of France. And as you can see here in this modern kitchen, you can still get that Tuscany look and have it be the focal point in your kitchen with that beautiful Viking range right there. And it's something that I feel like Viking had to bring to their line, because there were a lot of other competition, I guess, competitive companies, some of them that we even own, that were creating these really, you know, French provincial ranges, almost like the, you know, really the focal point of the jewelry of the kitchen. And today, with Viking having the Tuscany line, you know, they went to Italy and found a company to make it. And now we're making this in Greenwood. And I have to say that it's really an affordable version of, you know, a lot of these ranges are very, very expensive. But when people come into our showrooms and they see the Tuscany line, they're very surprised, not only by its, again, French provincial flair, but also by its streamlined, very modern look. And it can easily, like in this photograph, be incorporated into a very modern kitchen, which I think that is beautiful. So now that I've showed you a little bit of how you can incorporate it into a modern look, I'm going to throw it back to the Irvine showroom and Sue Bailey.
Great. Jamie, thank you so much. It's so good for you to give us that little intro into what Tuscany is. I'm going to give you a little bit more of an intro as we see that beautiful antique white 66-inch range that Nicole has there. But here's what you have to realize, which Jamie mentioned. So Viking started working with a Middleby sister company called Giga in about 2014. So Giga was producing commercial equipment in Italy. They had a line of commercial products. They were wanting to get into the residential line, but they called their chef line. And so we started working with them because we felt like that this was something we were missing. We had the pro category down to a science, and we just, as Jamie said, we wanted to get into this because of some of the other people that were already in this category. So you have to remember, this was about a year before Middleby actually purchased Aga and La Cornue. So there was nothing on the board for that at that point. So we started talking with Giga about doing this. And so they didn't have a range that was American sized, right? So we had to work with them. We just kind of tweaked their sizes. So they were the 36, 48, and then 66. We kept a lot of the features that they had, which we're going to go over in just a minute. But we also added some of our features. We asked for them to do a couple of things engineering wise so that we were able to have a couple more of our things, our features in that range. So Jessica, I think you have a slide for me that shows the 3 different sizes. So Tuscany is available in 36, 48, and 66-inch sizes, which you can see right here. One thing that you need to realize about Tuscany ranges is they are all dual fuel ranges, okay? Meaning the top is gas, the ovens are electric. There is not an all gas version of a Tuscany range. They are only dual fuel ranges, so that's great. One of the other things I want you to look at and notice, we're going to talk about the oven in a few minutes, but notice that that large oven, all of them are the exact same size, guys. So when we talk about the features of the oven, it doesn't matter whether you sell a 36, a 48, or a 66, that big oven cavity is the same on every single one of those ranges. And we're going to get into the performance of that. The only one that has a different size is that 48 when it comes to the smaller size there. I want you guys to take a quick look at the different top configurations. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. You basically have burners, a griddle, and induction elements. You guys that have been selling Viking Tuscany for a while will remember that we did also offer the French top version and a version that had 2 gas, griddle, and induction. We have pared down the line, made it a little bit smaller of a line as we've moved that production to Greenwood, which we're going to talk about at the very end of this. So these are the models that we actually offer today. So good, Jessica, thank you for that. I think we're ready to move into the surface. Nicole's going to do a great job. She always does of just listening to me and taking apart when I need things to be taken apart. What
Hey,
you'll
Sue,
notice here.
Sue,
Yeah.
can I interrupt for just 1 second? I know you guys are ready to go there, but can I just spotlight that vignette for 1 second, just right there, and look how beautiful, back again to the design of what we did and how easily you guys that are selling this can talk to clients about it in a modern environment. The cabinetry is so organic and modern, and the tile is something that, it has that really, that the pattern is not something that would be classically considered something that you would see in, French provincial. It's something more updated, laser cut, and super cool. But I'd love to just point out before you get started, just how beautiful that 66-inch range sits there as a focal point in a different, more modern environment. So don't be afraid out there if you're talking to customers or consumers that don't think it would work in something other than French provincial. Go ahead, Sue. Sorry about that.
No, that's absolutely a perfect point to bring up at time. And as you guys know, Jamie does a great job of designing all the vignettes and all the different showrooms. It's just so wow. So let's talk about burners. So we're going to start there. Nicole, if you want to, you can remove that cast iron grate off of this biggest burner if you would. What you're going to notice here is we've got 3 different size burners. That large one, which Nicole is removing the grate for right now, is the 20,500 BTU burner that we have right there. Notice as she removed it, she did probably struggle just a little bit because those are very heavy duty cast iron grates that are completely across the top of those. Notice that it is a brass burner, guys. This was one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we used. Brass burners are so much more efficient and have much more longer life longevity than, say, an aluminum burner does. Nice drilled ports, just like you see on some of the other ones. This is not a true Viking burner. It's not that Viking patented sealed burner like we use on the Pro line. This is a unique burner that we use on Tuscany here for that. These are different size burners. Like I said, you've got the large one, then you've got a middle one that's 13.5. You've got the smaller one that's 8,500 BTUs. Reason being, guys, you know, in the US, we like all of our burners, honestly, on a range to kind of be the same size as much as we can. But in Europe, and where this one was designed, you know, they definitely use a variety of burners because of the variety of different size pans that are used. So that's the thinking behind this one also, is you've got the great big burners, but you also have small burners for those when you wanted to use a smaller size. Now the 20,000 BTU burners, they're designed to provide that extra high heat output, especially when using large pans, okay? So this is going to be used to bring large quantities quickly to a boil. Now, while the high output burners have the extra power needed to bring this liquid to a boil, they are also very capable of turning down to provide a very low and delicate simmer, which makes this a very versatile burner, just like you find on our 5 or 7. So guys, even though they're different burners, they all have the ability to go to a high setting and then also come down to a very nice simmer setting. So let's talk about variable simmer for just a minute. Jackie, if you're there, I want to throw it to you for just a minute. I know we talked about simmer a couple weeks ago when we did the 7 and the 5 series ranges, but as a refresher, you want to talk to the group a little bit about why simmer is so important as a chef?
Absolutely.
There we go.
Sorry.
Hey, no, you're fine. Hey there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, whenever you're cooking something, you really always want to have something on simmer. I find it that I'm simmering a tomato sauce. I want a high heat and then a low heat. So whenever you're really cooking something, you want to be sure you want to be able to simmer, melt chocolate. And one of my favorite things is, you know, simmering a risotto and keeping it on that low controlled heat. I know that's one of Jamie's favorite things as well.
Exactly. And what's important too with the variable simmer is, and Jamie, you might want to touch on this a little bit more, is that we're not always simmering the same amount of food. So the fact that these burners have a variable simmer is very important, correct?
Yeah, and that's the thing I think that sets us apart from, you know, everybody else in the market. You know, as a chef, just like Jackie mentioned, you know, you're using your different burners not only to cook the food at hand, but, you know, situations happen and you need to maybe throw something on the back burner to slow it down or to hold it. And I feel like with having all of these burners the way we do, and it's really when I tell the customers, guys, that, you know, especially on all of our ranges, that we have the ability to, you know, use the vari-simmer. It's not like simmer's just one thing. There's a difference between a low simmer and a high simmer. And in a lot of cases, you can cook food just on the simmer settings alone. So as a chef, and knowing that I have all this, and the key word when I think of Viking is control. We're control freaks when it comes to our burners. And I think that when you tell a customer that, especially a customer that loves to cook, it puts us ahead of the race every single time.
Exactly.
I think
what's key too, sorry to interrupt, is also the variable simmer. We have it on all burners. So in most ranges, you only have 1 or 2 burners to just compare to our competitors. So we're able to do that on all of our burners.
Exactly. So good points from both of you guys for sure. One of the other things that all of the ranges have, and the Tuscany includes that, is the automatic ignition reignition. Okay. So if you look at some of the other French provincial ranges, sometimes there's a standing pilot in there just based on the way that they were engineered. That was nothing that we wanted on these. There's no open flame standing pilot. So on this one, just like regular Viking ranges, to light the surface burner, you just choose your knob, you push and turn, and it will light at any position. If the flame does for some reason go out, it will automatically reignite, which is just one of those safety features that we absolutely love on these ranges. The other thing you can see where Nicole took off a cast iron grate, and I'm going to make her get her workout today. Nicole, take off the next one that's right next on the front, that other cast iron grate, because I want them to be able to see the whole stainless thing. They're heavy. I know she's on mute, but they're very heavy. Notice, I just wanted you guys to get a good look at that stainless steel burner pan. It is part of what makes this range look so very beautiful is the stainless steel burner pan. One thing to notice, it is still a sealed burner, guys. So if anything happens to spill over, it is contained right there on the top of the range. You can wipe it up easy. You do have to realize this is stainless steel. So it's not the porcelainized like we have on the 5 and 7 that is a little more durable from that standpoint, but stainless can still be cleaned. It still looks beautiful. It is just a great, great sealed burner that we have on there. One of the things that I really love about Tuscany are the burner configurations that we have. You guys all know how much I love induction. And we don't see it on this particular one that Nicole has, but you do have the opportunity to have 2 burners that are induction, which is just great. To have the gas along with the induction, I think is just a really, really great option. The other option that is great is the optional griddle, which is constructed from machined steel, and it does have a chrome finish. And it's uniquely designed to offer excellent cooking performance as well as being a little bit easier to clean. The griddle is also equipped with that electronic thermostat, so it's going to maintain a very even temperature across the griddle once it's been set. And there is a great little, oh, she doesn't have it on this one. There's a great little trough drawer where the griddle actually drains down to, and it's a little drawer that comes out that is great for easy cleaning and those things. Jackie, I'm going to start with you, and then Jamie, we're going to throw the question to you. Tell me something, Jackie and Jamie, that you love to cook either on the induction elements or on a griddle, so that they can have a something to show that customer why they might want to choose one of those two.
Number one, bacon on the griddle, one of my favorite things, or pancakes or French toast. Those are some of my favorite things to cook on the griddle. And especially bacon, because that grease that you can pull out and just clean, and the versatility of that unit is so easy. And the induction, I mean, what can't you cook on induction?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I actually, believe it or not, love searing a steak on induction on that super high heat. And you get that really deep, dark, golden crust that you're looking for in way faster than you would on a gas. So
exactly.
And
Jamie, what about you?
Yeah, for sure. To add to that, the griddle, first of all, the chrome griddle is such a high heat surface. So anything like, let's say, a scallop or a fillet, you're going to get that really rich, very thick crust, and that fond that you'll get on that around, you want to capture all of that that comes off of those scallops. But it's really amazing to see, like, for example, vegetables like asparagus or eggplant. If you slice eggplant and just have that on the griddle, you're going to get a perfect sear. That's the one thing I love about the chrome griddle. And of course, Jackie mentioned risotto, my favorite thing. On an induction, I'm always working around the flame, which is the center point, right? So on the induction, Sue, when I'm making my risotto, which I'm really well known for, it's actually an 18-minute process to make the perfect risotto. On the induction, especially on this one, you're working with a lot hotter heat and a lot more even heat. So you're actually capable of speeding up the process. So in a sense, using induction like we have here is really speeding up the process. So my risotto is actually done in something like 12 minutes. The whole surface is your ring of fire.
Exactly. Thank you guys for that. One more thing we're going to show before we move to the ovens is the die cast knobs and bezels. I did have someone ask me a couple weeks ago, Ren, it might have been you, if the graphics were how were they put on the range? And they are etch and filled. So they're not screened on there, guys. So it is an etch and fill. So they very much have longevity and long life as far as graphics go. So that does answer that question that had come up. So now we're going to talk about the ovens. I do love the ovens. One thing that you have to know when you open the oven door, thank you, Nicole, that all the Tuscany ranges are equipped with a stainless steel oven cavity, okay? Totally different. It's the only product in our line that actually has the stainless steel oven cavity. Of course, guys, this is because that is what is typically used in commercial and restaurant ranges. So we wanted to keep that here. Now, one thing you got to know is over time, that oven, as my sweet husband always says, is going to patina, which is a very nice way of saying it will discolor or become kind of brown. It will patina. It is the nature of stainless steel. And so just make sure your customer realizes it. That is the reason also, guys, that this doesn't have that self-clean on there. It's because of that extra high heat would just cause an issue with that even browning a little bit more. It's a very large oven cavity, especially when you look at it compared to some of the other Italian designed ovens. That is a good size oven cavity that we have in there. It is 25, almost 26 inches in width. So it is a very, very large oven cavity that we have in there. There are 8 cooking functions. We went over these in detail when we did the ovens. They're not really that different from what you see in the other ones, but there is bake, a convection bake, true convect, some broil, convection broil, defrost, and proof, okay? So just real quick, just as a quick reminder, in the bake, you get full power. It's from the bottom of the element of the oven cavity, okay? This is recommended for single rack baking, as you guys know. Convection bake, we get full power from the bottom of the cavity, in addition to the fan in the rear. Nicole, if you don't mind, will you open that oven cavity? Let's see if we can get a shot of this, so you can kind of see that oven in the back. Guys, this is not the very speed, you know, bi-directional fan that we do in the 5 and the 7 series. This is a unique convection system to the Tuscany range only, okay? But it still uses the fan in the back. So convection bake's going to use your bottom element. You're going to use your fan in the back. This is great for something dense. You need to get a frozen casserole done. You've just got something that it's kind of heavy. Convection bake is great for that. One of the things I love about this range is it also has a true convex setting like we do in the 5 and the 7 series. This means that the rear element around that fan is the only thing that is on, okay? Again, not the patented system we have in our other ones, but this does use the rear element around the motorized fan at full power. So there's no direct heat from the top or the bottom. This setting is great when you are cooking anything that needs gentle heat, such as pastries, souffles, those sort of things. If you want to do multiple rack baking, remember true convect is always a good thing for multiple rack baking. Or if you want to do your full meal, you want to do a lasagna and a sauerkraut and maybe some croissants, and you don't want any flavor transfer, that's always a great thing to do here. Nicole, I don't know if you can get a shot of that broiler. You might can, you might not can, I can't remember. It is a 10-pass broiler up top. I say 10, I have to count them to make sure. And so remember, broil is a very dry heat, direct heat method from up there. Good for steaks, pork chops, anything along that side that you want to broil. We do find that a lot of the Viking customers have a great grill on the back, so they might not use the broiler as much as they do. But there is also convection broil. So you can actually have the broiler on and then the fan in the back, and you can actually convection broil from that standpoint. A couple things I want to talk about, then I'm going to throw it to Jamie and Jackie to talk about their favorite foods to cook in the oven. Preheat. Remember, it is always recommended. It's best to always preheat your oven to make sure it gets to temperature. This one also, Tuscany ranges also do get partial power from the broil element during the preheat. So you do not want to put any of your food in ahead of time. Make sure that it is preheated. There is a proof setting. So if you want to proof bread, there is a proof setting. And then there's a defrost setting, which just is using air to circulate with that fan to actually help to defrost meat. You can see from this right here that there are 6 rack positions that we have. The large oven cavities do include a True Glide rack. So Jamie and Jackie, why don't you each tell us something that's your favorite thing to cook on in the oven using one of these great functions that we have?
Yeah, I'll start it off. I have to say one of my favorite things is to do pizza. Pizza in the oven, throw in a stone or a baking sheet in there, and you can do a deep dish cast iron pizza on true convection. That fan always helps. Really, that I would say that's something more of like a rich dish. But yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite things. Or a classic frittata for brunch is always great.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Sue, just getting back to the oven itself, you know, as a chef, I love this oven, guys. And when you're putting foods like, for example, let's say it's a rack of lamb, or you're roasting a leg of lamb, that convection roast, having that nice big oven. One of my favorite things to do in this oven is an ossobuco, and have it be just like so succulent and so juicy coming out of that oven. But really, when talking about meats, what I tell people and what I tell customers, consumers about this oven, if you haven't felt it before, it's actually very meaty. It feels like almost you're dealing with a vintage car or a Harley Davidson. When you close that oven door and you have your hand on the handle, it's extremely, in Italian, we'd say pesante, which means like heavy. It's very robust. When you're feeling the Viking Tuscany range, it's not like you're working with some tinny, imposter. It's very, very rich in weight. It's very like, again, it's like very heavy in the sense that you feel like you're working with something constructed really well.
Good. And if your customers buying the 48-inch range, it does have that small oven cavity. When we were working with Giga on the range, that what is now an oven cavity on the 48 was just storage for them. But we told them we really needed that oven to be an oven. So they did produce it as an oven. It is convection bake oven. There's one rack in there. You fit small things in there, but it's a great, just small auxiliary oven from that standpoint. The other thing that I love about this, because you guys know I can cook and choose not to. Nicole, if you'll shut that oven door. I do love the storage drawer below. Because guys, I might not love to cook, but I love cookbooks and pans and cookware. So if you'll pull out that storage drawer for me, Nicole, the thing I love about this is you've got a great storage drawer. And there you go. And then when you close it, I'm all about this. When you close it, it's got a great little soft close function that happens there. So it's the little things that make me very happy from that standpoint. Also, a couple of other things, Nicole, if you want to back up just a little bit so we can see the hood. Remember, not only are there Tuscany ranges, the Tuscany ranges also have hoods that you can do that have the same chrome detailing. There is also a dishwasher panel that has the same chrome detailing. We are working, guys, on a Tuscany handle kit that would be able to be purchased to use on full overlay refrigerators. I don't have it yet, but it is something that we are definitely working on from that standpoint. And Jamie, do you want to talk about colors?
Absolutely, one of my favorite things. Thanks, Sue. As far as the colors are concerned, this range in particular is very much a chameleon. So it was offered before in the antique white, the graphite black, and the dark blue, which all three of them, and as you can see, I use the white, take on a different personality. But now it's exciting, and what I'm going to say to you guys is that it's now available and going into availability in the Delta Hues colors. So if you look at the Delta Hues right there, there's 14 of them. You've got cast black and frost white and Arctic gray, Damascus gray, Pacific gray, vanilla cream, cypress green, black forest green, bywater blue, alluvial blue, slate blue, Kalamata red, reduction red, and San Marzano. A couple of, foodie colors right in there. A lot of these colors have been thought about for so long, and I'm so excited, and I can't wait to see them available on this Tuscany. I can't imagine how beautiful it will be in one of these colors.
Excellent. Guys, we try to keep this to 30 minutes, so I'm going to stop there. I know there were a few questions, but Margaret, I'm going to let you kind of wrap it up, and then if anybody wants to stay on, we can answer questions or do whatever.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending today's virtual training on the beautiful Viking Tuscany range. Please make sure to catch Chef Jamie and Chef Jackie on the Vikings Instagram live feed for an amazing cooking video on Wednesday and Friday evenings. Also, don't miss out seeing our own Chef Jackie Rothon battle it out again on the Food Network, raising the game against the competition on Chopped next Tuesday, June 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Please also make sure to tune in for next Thursday's training on the 5 Series refrigeration on Thursday, June 11th at 3 p.m. Central. And look for a follow-up email with assets from today's training, as well as Chef Jamie's recipe for Tuscan panzanella salad. And a reminder, we are hosting virtual showroom appointments out of our Chicago and Irvine showrooms. Please visit the websites or talk with your Middleby Residential District Sales Manager for more information. So this concludes our training for today. We will remain on the call to answer any questions that you may have asked in the chat.
Okay, so as I'm looking at the chat, sorry about that, Margaret. As I'm looking at the chat, so Ren asked, is the base to the brass burner also brass? So Nicole, I need you, that's a good question. I know when we take the head off, Nicole, if you, yeah, go back. Let's see, take the burner off for me. And if you'll take that off, I don't think that's brass below it though. No, it's not. It's not brass below it also. It's just the metal that's there. So that should answer Ren's question. Next question was, does the griddle come with a cover? Has an optional cover you can order. It does not come with a cover. Okay, Rick. So lasagna and sauerkraut was always our demonstration of how to show that you don't transfer food odors to the croissant. So no, I don't typically eat croissant with my lasagna, just so we know. Garen asked the cubic feet of the ovens. The large one is, I have it right here, 3.8 cubic feet. The right oven of the 48 is 2.4 cubic feet. Where is the serial number plate located? I'd have to look in the use and care. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head where that one is. Peter asked, when ordering the Tuscany, do you specify natural LP? Okay, so Tuscany is only shipped natural. If your customer needs LP, just order the optional LP kit and get it converted in the field. So only natural from there. Jeremy wants to know typical lead time. Right now, honestly, guys, because we have quite a few on back order and we have moved the production to Greenwood, but guys, this is truly a hand-built product. We're looking at 14 to 16 weeks at least on a typical lead time right now, just because we have almost 40 something on order already, which is awesome. So very excited about that. Ren, SN in the storage drawer, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't know.
I think that means the serial number.
Serial number. Thank you, Ren. It takes me a little while. Thank you, Melissa. And yeah, see, everybody knew but me. Look, Melissa, Rick, Ren, everybody knows but me. Good. Thank you. So it's in the storage drawer. Perfect place to find it. Any other questions, guys, that you might have on this?
Great.
Sue, this is Carl. How you doing?
Hey, Carl, how are you?
Good. Thank you. You guys did a great job. Can I say one thing that's really neat about that burner, Sue?
Sure.
I call it a hybrid burner because it is sealed and open at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it's got a lot of flexibility, lows to high. It does not have the 3.5 inches that we have in a Viking elevation, but you can see it is sealed and open at the same time. So it's really not starved for oxygen. So it's
great point.
It's a great performer. One thing that we need to know too, that the griddle has an electric element, not gas like we have.
Correct.
So sometimes the preheat time needs to be a little longer in there. I also talk to people about the stainless, and I do tell them what you say about the color is going to change on that. But at the same time, I tell them in a restaurant, they don't use porcelain because porcelain, after a period of time from heating and cooling, can possibly chip. So it becomes more of an antibacterial interior by doing it that way as well. The only thing I wish we had on the 48 is we need an extra shelf in the vertical convection oven on the right.
Yeah.
It just needs
Yeah.
another rack. And people look in there and you only have one, and it, you know, because they see the oven is smaller and then you got to explain vertical. But if we had another rack in there,
Yeah.
it would make a difference if we put one in. That's all I
Sure.
got. I'm sorry.
Good. Thanks. And
And
one more question. Yep. Well, there's one more question from Jeremy and Ruth. Looks like forthcoming in future features such as models or sizes. There is not a 30. I will tell you that the 36 is the lowest seller of all of them. It's amazing to me how many 66 inch ranges we sell in this. I would say for the next probably at least through 2021, you won't see anything added into the line at this point. We're going to get these where we've got a good, amount of them flowing through production because of all the colors and all that. So I would say probably 2022, we'll look at, we want to bring the French top back. There's, probably a couple other sizes we'd like to look at also, but I'd say for the next 18 months, we're probably set with what we have on the models. Anything else?
well, thank you so much again, Sue, and everyone. This concludes the Viking Tuscany range collection training for today. Please come next Thursday to the next training session and have a great week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Yeah, something. Camera, Jessica said too.